pay $4 for a carton of eggs because that's 33 cents an egg.
Yeah.
And then we got into somehow
they're being smuggled across the border.
And I didn't know that you could not bring an egg back with you from Mexico, but then a flurry of people let me know that you could not. And then I guess it's a biohazard threat of some sort. And then that guy did make a pretty good point. I don't know if I'd want to trust something from Mexico. No offense.
You think there's a big difference between a Mexican egg and an American egg?
If I look, Farmer Ryan, who is our dear friend Farmer Ryan, he let me know it was a biohazard issue. He is my farming expert. And so I'm going to go with Farmer Ryan's assessment that it could be a biohazard issue. So I've totally changed my tune on bringing those eggs back from Mexico.
Yeah, they're facing fines of up to $10,000.
That was what blew my mind.
For smuggling eggs in. But here's the real question. When you do purchase the egg, are you getting the jumbo or the large?
Oh, there's different size eggs?
Yes.
Wait. So you're telling me that how do different hens, do they?
Yeah, there's different sizes.
So like when you breed a hen.
And is it really worth the money?
Do you breed a hen? Is that what it's called? I need to make more hens. Can you breed the hens to produce the larger eggs?
I don't know. Or if it's just an after the fact, like after they come out.
You get lucky.
They're sized, right.
Oh, you could get lucky. It's just luck. So I'd assume a larger egg, you're the egg expert. It costs more. A larger egg is more expensive.
It can be.
Because you get more egg.
Yeah. And it used to be that brown eggs were cheaper.
Really?
Because for some reason, didn't like the brown shell.
Here's what. Yes, Kevin.
I was going to say, have you ever cracked open an egg and gotten 2 yolks?
Yeah, it's a lucky egg.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me a couple times. It was excellent.
Rob's looking at us like we're crazy.
Here is what I've started doing in my house, and I did this last night.
Well, you don't buy eggs.
No.
You don't allow anybody to buy anything.
No. So here's what I've determined is we have so much stuff in our house that is nearing expiration dates.
You're going to eat it all.
And I said, at least I am. I'm not forcing my wife to do this. I've strongly encouraged her to participate in this. But I've been eating. So like last night, I had a half frozen bag of French fries that have been in there since I think like June.
Did they have freezer burn?
Maybe.
Okay, they weren't good. They were just serviceable.
They were. I could put them in the oven and operate, and then that was out of the freezer. I then also had. My wife has a terrible habit of buying things because they look good to her in the grocery store, and then 3 days later they might not look good anymore, so she just lets them sit.
Well, she's dealing with morning sickness.
This was way before that. There's no excuse on this one. This was purchased before we lived in our current home. So again, we're talking like something that was bought in April of last year.
Okay.
So this was a macaroni and cheese, a fried macaroni and cheese ball.
Okay, sounds good.
And so that was my dinner last night. Old French fries and a box of macaroni.
Were they crinkle fries or straight?
No, they were straight fries, regular fries.
Okay.
It's no wonder you come in and steal cereal from Terry Stacy.
She told me I could, Casey.
You're so hungry.
Terry Stacy had 2 boxes of cereal back there that never get eaten.
Is that why you're angry? Because you're really hangry?
No, I'm angry for a bevy of reasons, Casey. That is not what I'm. There's one more phone call we need to get to.
Somebody feed this guy.
Right. I mean, there's one. Is there one more phone call?
I can get that really quick. Yeah, LIV Golf.
Oh, yes. So we had talked about how the LIV Golf Tour, which is funded by the Saudis, has a TV deal now with the CW.
Right.
And we had a conversation about, should I feel like a bad person?
Because you want to watch it.
Because I'm definitely going to watch this because I love golf, yet it is funded by a bunch of lunatics and maniacs. And somebody called in about that.
How do I say this, Rob? You are not a horrible person because you want to watch golf that is sponsored by the Saudis. I'm a person who likes to watch the NFL. I don't particularly care about their politics, and I don't like to support the NFL and how they do stuff, but I do support the game because I enjoy watching the game, so I agree with you on that. What makes you a horrible person is that you watch and enjoy such a boring sport. I have to just say this. Soccer is more entertaining than golf a million times a Sunday. Casey was right. I agree with you on everything else. You're not a horrible person for watching a golf game that is hosted by the Saudis or funded by the Saudis or whatever. You enjoy the game, enjoy the game. What makes you a horrible person is because you have the audacity to think that soccer is less entertaining than guys that are old and sometimes young, but mostly old, who hit a ball with a club, which is more about mathematics than actual skill.
Okay. So he's not questioning your choice of whether to watch it or not. He's questioning your choice of the sport you're watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's allowed to do that. I just wanted to make sure, because I should not be punished. I was watching these guys before they were funded by a bunch of terrorists.
Right.
Should I now feel bad because I'm watching the same people that I was watching a year ago and still get enjoyment out of that? And so it's very good. The guy's totally wrong, because 90% of soccer is them kicking the ball backwards. People are hitting the ball to the hole in golf. It is always forward movement. Soccer, the majority of the game is about backwards movement, not to the goal in question.
Yeah, well, sometimes you do have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward, which is what happens in soccer. But he did raise a good point, because, the NFL does not always operate with the utmost,
Sure.
integrity.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
it's fine.
And
I feel good about all this now.
A lot of people still continue to watch NFL.
Hammer is next.
It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back this afternoon. Biggest stories in Indy, and it's Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford, 93 WIBC.
World-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
By listening to WIBC, you'll learn how to create a secure income plan that is sustainable throughout retirement from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Tune into WIBC this Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m.
Selling homes in today's market is tougher, but the outlook is improving. Interest rates have lowered and homes are selling. If you have been on the sidelines, now may be the time to sell. Talk to the agent I trust and recommend, Mark Dietl. Maybe you want to maximize your equity now while you still can. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days, or it's listed for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price. Listen to what Judy in Greenfield had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I was moving out of town and needed to sell fast. I also needed all my equity for my new place, so I needed a great price. I called Mark Dietl, and his team went above and beyond to market my home like crazy. Home sold in 9 days at list price. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer in 3 days for full market value, or it's listed for free. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
I'd rather be folding laundry. This is gonna be fun. Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
I'm not content to be with you in the daytime.
Good morning. It is 10:46. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Damar Hamlin was back in the suite cheering on his teammates.
So his doctors came out this past week because
That's Jason Hammer, by the way.
Hello. So a lot of people were wondering when, if ever, is he going to come back? What's the status of Damar Hamlin? Because it seems like he's doing well. Well, his doctors came out and, kind of wanted to put a wet blanket on some expectations. He still needs a lot of oxygen. He still gets tired really early. So maybe he will never play football again.
Yeah, but you need those things too, and you're doing fine.
Dude, I get hurt tying my shoe. I get worn out putting my socks on at this point.
I asked you a question yesterday, and I appreciate your honesty on this. I'd said Joe Mixon is the running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that dude runs to in the industry they say he runs to contact, right? Like
he runs angry.
Yes, he seeks people out, and he seeks to hurt you more than you hurt him. And so I asked basically, do you think you could survive? Could you survive tackling Joe Mixon in a game full speed without getting seriously injured?
Not right now, no. Not at 45 years old, not, being old and out of shape. And, I got a bum knee already. I got a bad back. I got a bad shoulder. No, I would be out of work for probably 2 weeks if I attempted to tackle Joe Mixon right now. Now, 21-year-old me, I would go for it. 21-year-old me trying to walk onto the Ball State football team, I'd give it a shot. I mean, he would truck me.
Sure, but you could get him down.
Right, and, I would get back up.
Yeah.
Now, no, I would lay there and everything would hurt.
Do we know what happened to this Hamlin guy? Have they revealed that yet?
No.
Isn't that weird?
And here's what really stinks, right? And this is a big part of the conversation I don't think anybody's bringing up. Unless the Buffalo Bills want to pay this guy for his medical expenses out of the kindness of his own heart after this year, they don't have to. Because in the NFL, to qualify for the pension program, you have to play at least 3 years in the league. He's only in year number 2. So even though the dude literally almost died on the field playing for your organization, if they wanted to be jerks about it, they could say, well, we really appreciate what you did for the organization. Here's the Jelly of the Month Club. We wish you well.
And they've done that to people before. NFL, we talked about earlier, they've got a bit of a track record. I mean, and I assume this guy's going to have salary cap implications and everything else. So, but does that make me a horrible person? And I'm like, what happened to this guy and why aren't they telling anyone?
No, you're absolutely right. And I've heard from a number of, physicians that say the hit that he took, we've seen harder hits. Now, maybe it just hit in the right place at the right time. You never know what happens. Everybody's body's different, but it doesn't make you a horrible person to wonder if this could have been vaccine related or something like that. Despite what writers from the Indy Star will want to tell you, it doesn't make you a horrible person if you question about the impacts of healthy professional athletes and why they're having so many heart conditions.
Well, you're also assuming that he was healthy. I mean, we think he was healthy, but he could
if you're a starting safety in the NFL.
Right, you hope. But he could have had some underlying issue that maybe he wasn't even aware of.
True, and that very well could be the case. But to Rob's point, we don't know any of this information, but you can't rule anything out.
Can I tell you why I loathe Hammer. There's no doubt about that, but I also love him. Can I just tell a quick story?
Sure.
So Hammer, were you chaperoning or something, your kids' dance of some sort or something? There was some event you were...
Oh, yeah, this past weekend. I went to go pick up Jacob at the school dance.
Yes, so Hammer is picking his kid up, and he texts me. He goes, "Look, I'm kind of out of range right now. I can't watch On Patrol Live. If anything happens in Beech Grove, let me know. I'll try to drive by and shout Rob Kendall sucks while they're doing whatever
and get it on TV."
And so about I don't know. This was maybe 30 minutes, an hour later. There's something happening in Beech Grove, and so I'm texting Hammer. I said, "Beech Grove, can't see streets, but I can tell you the business that I'm seeing in the background." And it was was it a funeral home?
It was a Little and Sons funeral home right there on Main Street.
Yes. And so I'm thinking, funny. Well, within 15 minutes, Hammer is sending me a live video of himself going past the parking lot in question. And unfortunately, the person, it was a stranded motorist or something like that. The live PD had already moved on because they'd gotten the person to safety.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that Hammer made every effort to go by on television and shout Rob Kendall sucks on and make sure that made cable television airwaves.
He'll do anything to get on TV.
Oh.
Good thing it wasn't Gun Baby, because that could be a dangerous situation.
By the way, congratulations to your boy. He's moving on in an athletic conquest.
The oldest one is part of the Beech Grove bowling team, high school bowling, and they're moving on to the semi-state. So we got a little home game coming up this weekend at Expo. That's where the semi-state's at. So if any rowdy, just loud Southsiders want to come by, tailgate with me, and hang out and cheer on Beech Grove, get there and let's just make that thing raucous.
When is it?
Saturday.
Saturday.
The individual contest, which we have one of our bowlers, a gentleman by the name of Donnie Sutton.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's in the individual portion.
He's a big earn.
He is, man. He's going to be making money bowling one day. And the team advanced to the team competition, which starts at 2. So, again, these things get pretty crowded in there. But, man, I want a full-on Southside invasion. Let's bring Lutheran and Roncalli and Beech Grove all together just so we can give a middle finger to New Pal and Avon and all those dirtbags.
What pound ball does your son use? Is it a heavy one?
It's a heavier one, yeah.
Does he have his own ball? Or does it just like when we're at the bowling alley, the ball just comes out of the
he's got
thing?
his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably drilled specifically for his fingers, right?
And
sized up for his hand.
It's crazy.
What are you
because
even saying right now?
Yeah.
He's a just straight roller. Like some dudes have that curve.
Yeah.
Some people use the two hands.
Yeah.
The two hands is like the popular thing now.
Like Ollie and Hoosiers?
Yeah, like you take it and you just kind of spin it with two hands.
Yeah.
That's probably about 80% of the bowlers now.
You are kidding me.
No, I'm telling you the truth. Yeah.
My question is, what are the parental responsibilities when your child plays bowling? Because I know, like with other athletics, you got to bring the orange slices, or do you bring the beer?
Well, that happens before I get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they do not serve the libations at the high school
Probably
events.
frowned
Wow,
upon.
Hammer's dad was really drunk.
Walking out in the lane like Shooter and Hoosiers. Hey! No. So you'll have to tailgate a little bit before you go in. But yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So where, you mentioned this Donnie, who I think he went to the state finals last year, right?
Yes.
And he's really good. So if you were in high, is he a senior?
No, he's only a junior.
Oh, he's only a junior. So if you were to say quarterback of the football team, or I'm the starting point guard on the basketball team, you're probably walking around that high school like a fairly big man
Right.
on
Man on
campus. You
campus, yeah.
probably have got your choice of ladies that want to date you. Where does I'm the best bowler in the school rank in terms of the, upper, is it an upper echelon?
Right. You're probably not going to be elected prom king, but your scholarship to your college might be full on because bowling scholarships are
That's
a thing.
That's a thing?
Yeah, schools have bowling teams. So, yeah, good for that kid. And I've always said, if I knew what I knew now back when I was in high school, instead of playing football and basketball, if I knew I could get a free ride bowling or playing pool or throwing darts or whatever.
Because there's fewer people.
Right.
There's fewer people to compete against.
Yeah.
Right. I totally would have done that.
Let's talk etiquette here for a second, okay? Because we observed someone do this over the weekend, and I think it's a pretty crappy move, but I'll let you weigh in on this. Casey, you can weigh in on this too. If you took a check from a place, like you worked at a place or I'm not talking like you worked there 6 months, you worked there for 3, 4, 5 years. And the whole time you're there, you don't man up and say something to someone's face if you got a problem with them. But then when you get out of that place, you start making vague book posts about how nice it is to get out of a toxic working environment. You're a piece of trash, aren't you?
Yeah, because you had the opportunity to leave, like 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
But then you leave at the end and say, oh, the whole time was awful. Well, you didn't mind the check.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I'm at with like Molly Ringwald right now, because she goes back and says all of those 80s movies, so inappropriate, so awful. I wish I never would have done them. But she's more than happy to take those checks that still come in anytime somebody watches 16 Candles or something like that.
Hindsight, though, later on, she's grown up a little, thinks differently.
She's still taking the money.
Yeah, they don't cash the check.
Okay, and conversely, what about the person who works somewhere and then was let go and then goes on vague book and says how wonderful they all are? Like, why would someone do that?
Well, I mean, if you had a great experience, like in radio, you are hired to be fired.
Yes.
We all know this.
Yes.
This job, it's like you're a coach in sports. You know what the outcome's going to be. Whether you say something, whether it's a company change, whether it's a format flip or whatever, you're hired to be fired. So you ride the lightning for as long as you can. So, like, when I got let go over at ZPL, there was one person I didn't like, but I still talk to people over there. I wouldn't bash those guys.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I just think that's a really crappy move. If you took money from somebody and you worked around all these people and you had every opportunity to be a big tough guy and come up to say something to somebody's face and you never do, and then when you get out of there, you act like you were sentenced to 5 years in a gulag or something.
And it's crazy, too. Like, you're not even aware that someone has blocked you until it's brought to your attention.
Are you just discovering this?
Well, there's a couple people. Like, there's one, there's like a sports guy over at Channel 4, Fox 59 is 4. They're kind of put together. There's this one dude I've never said a word to.
But he's not a fan, you're finding.
Apparently, somebody who's a mutual friend shared something, and I clicked on it. You're blocked. All right, haircut, thanks.
What's coming up this afternoon?
I mean, he's just a total turd with a haircut. It's the only reason he has a job. Guy Relford will join us. It's Monday Gun Day, and we're going to have a good time.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Yeah, winter is here. How'd you like driving around in that snowstorm a couple of weeks ago? I didn't like it at all. I don't want to be stuck out in the snow, changing a flat tire, cars zooming by me on the interstate, or maybe even changing a dead battery in the cold. It's why I'm a AAA member. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas, lock your keys in your car. I've done it all. AAA is there for me 24/7, 365. Winter does not care where you need to be, but my friends at AAA do. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. It's really easy to become a member. It's quick to become a member. I've been a member for years.
Get your AAA membership right now at AAA.com or call 844-GO-AAA-GO. Or you could also stop by your local AAA office. Don't forget, ask about complimentary travel planning and insurance rates, auto, home, and life, because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA.
There's the good parts we all think about. The crackling of wood on a cold winter night, the warmth and glow in the room. And then there's the other part. The stale campfire smell, the potentially dangerous creosote buildup. It's easy to forget about the importance of fireplace maintenance. The certified professionals at Chimney Solutions Indiana can keep your fireplace clean and safe using trusted products and repair techniques. Call 317-757-6979 or go to chimneyindy.com.
Turn to the experts at Howald Heating and Carrier for all your heating needs. Howald Heating, Air, and Plumbing, where coming home never felt so good. Online at howaldheatingandair.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a winter storm is on the way, what the experts are expecting. Plus, you now know where the jury will be coming from in the Delphi murder case. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Will we roll up our sleeves every year to fight COVID? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The FDA is considering a new flu-like strategy with vaccine recommendations of a once-a-year shot.
This proposal was revealed in briefing documents ahead of an FDA advisory committee meeting Thursday. This would rely then on an updated COVID vaccine each year that attempts to match the circulating strain at the time. This, they hope, might simplify things if people only need one shot, though the panel would consider recommending 2 doses for seniors, immunocompromised folks, and children.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. A drug trial started this morning in New York City for Genaro Garcia Luna,
Mexico's highest-ranking government official to ever be criminally charged and tried in the U.S.
Fox's Brian Yanis details the charges outside the Brooklyn court.
The man who led Mexico's war against the drug cartels was instead accepting briefcases stuffed with tens of millions of dollars worth of bribes from the Sinaloa cartel. In exchange, Garcia Luna provided secret intel, protection, and helped with smuggling at least 50,000 kilos of cocaine into the U.S.
They're starting to pick a jury this morning in South Carolina to put disgraced lawyer Alex Murdaugh on trial. He's charged with murdering his wife and son. Why did he do it is a big question still in California after Saturday's shooting at a dance studio that left 10 people dead, 10 wounded.
Reports are circulating that this was over some kind of domestic violence dispute. However, police have not confirmed that information. They have not released details on a motive.
Fox's Christina Coleman in Monterey Park. The 72-year-old Asian gunman killed himself in his van yesterday as police approached. There are reports the Justice Department could next search President Biden's Delaware Beach home or other properties after more classified documents were found Friday at the Biden Wilmington home. These all date back to his days as vice president and Senate. Republican Congressman James Comer tells Fox
something bad is going on here, and this is of the utmost importance for our national security.
Comer's investigating as chair of the House Oversight Committee. America's listening to Fox News.
Picked 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Lots of snow. It's cloudy and 31 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A winter storm will get here late Tuesday night.
It's really a system that has a lot of qualities of being one of our classic snowmakers for Indiana, really the whole state. It really is just going to end up being a pretty widespread snow across not only northern Indiana, but all the way through central and portions of southern Indiana as well.
Randy Bowers with the National Weather Service. He says the system settles in and stays until late morning Wednesday. In that time, he expects around 4 inches to fall throughout central and northern Indiana. Alcohol believed to have played a role in a fatal crash on the south side overnight. It was near Meridian and Southport roads, where police say an Acura sedan sped down at Meridian, ran a red light, and then crashed into the driver's side door of a Hyundai. The driver of the Acura and a passenger in the Hyundai were killed. There's been an update in the Delphi murder case. John Herrick explains.
The jury who will decide the fate of the man accused of killing 2 girls in Delphi in 2017 will come from either St. Joseph or Allen County. Prosecutors and the defense team for suspect Richard Allen were told by Judge Fran Gohl to choose a county by Friday, but the decision was not made public until Monday. They both agreed that either St. Joseph or Allen County would be the best choice. In a hearing earlier this month, Gohl decided that the trial would be held in Carroll County, but that the jurors had to come from elsewhere. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
State Senator Eric Cook of Bedford says the effort to pass his bill to overhaul Indiana's bail laws will be tough.
It's not easy to amend our Constitution. It shouldn't be easy to amend our Constitution.
Talking to Indy Politics, his bill gives more discretion to judges and expands when they can deny bail for a criminal. But as a constitutional amendment, it could take years before it can become law. And if you're a fan of Culver's, this is something that you should be aware of. They are switching soda suppliers. Instead of Pepsi products, Culver's restaurants throughout the state will be selling Coke products. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I ask that they might all be one.
Pastor John Gable of Tabernacle Presbyterian Church in Indianapolis.
This was the great prayer for unity that Jesus prayed for his disciples. Unity is at the heart of his desire for us today. But how can this be when God's people are so different, distinct, and separated from one another? This is the miracle of God's work in the church. It is our common faith in Jesus that brings us together now and always. Rather than focusing on those things that divide the body of Christ, it is our desire at TAB to focus on the one who unites us. We invite you to experience this unity in Christ for yourself by visiting us in person or at tabpres.org.
Tabernacle Presbyterian Church, 34th Street and Central Avenue in Indianapolis, invites you to worship Sunday morning at 8 or 10 a.m. If you can't make it in person, tune in to Sunday with Tab, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WIBC, or find us online at tabpres.org.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is January 23rd. It is 6 minutes after 11, and you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So investigators for the Department of Justice discovered 6 more items containing classified document markings during a 13-hour search on Friday of President Biden's Delaware home. So this search began at approximately 9:45 in the morning, and it concluded around 10:30 in the evening, and it covered all working, living, and storage spaces in the home. They found documents including personally handwritten notes, files, papers, binders, memorabilia, to-do lists, schedules, and also reminders that go back decades to when Biden was still a senator. And now the Justice Department, who is leading the search, not Biden's lawyers, they're looking at these handwritten documents and notes to see what they say, and do they give any indication why the classified documents were there.
So Chris Coons, he's the senator from Delaware. This is what there's so many things that I thoroughly enjoy about this, because not that I'm under the delusion that, oh, Joe Biden, he's going to go to jail. He's not going to pass go or collect his $200. No, that's not going to happen. But it puts the hypocrisy of these people on full display for everyone to see. And one of the things that has become very clear about this is that the authorities had this information.
Mm-hmm.
They had the knowledge that Biden had these documents before the midterm elections, and they deliberately sat on them because they didn't want to harm the Democrats in the election, the same way that big tech, along with certain elements of the federal government, squashed the Hunter Biden laptop story, which then came out as 100% true, because they didn't want to harm Joe Biden during the election. It's the same thing. It's the same reason, the same premise of what they did in 2020 is what they did in 2022. Are we sensing a theme here? So Chris Coons, who is a United States Senator, goes on, I think this was ABC he was on, and he goes on there and plays totally dumb about Biden and authorities not revealing these classified documents until after the midterm, and then says, well, public should decide if that was a mistake.
His lawyers discovered the first batch of classified documents before the midterm election. It wasn't made public until January 9th, and only after reporters broke that story. Was that a mistake?
Well, my understanding, and I don't know the intimate details of exactly who contacted whom when, my understanding, Martha, is that they promptly contacted the National Archives and Records Administration, which is the appropriate first step, and it took some time for the documents to get from the Biden Center to NARA to the Department of Justice, and that accounts for that delay.
It wasn't disclosed to the public until reporters broke the story. Was that a mistake?
I think we'll let the public decide that, and I think once we get to the end of the special counsel's investigation, the American people will have a chance to make a judgment on that question.
I am so sick of them saying that he promptly told authorities. No, he didn't. He had the documents for years. They're saying some of these go back to the time when he was a senator. That is not prompt. There is nothing prompt about that. And he went on to say that, well, we'll let Americans decide.
Sure. Well, this is like, you have no idea when they actually found these documents. Nobody knows for sure when they found these documents. It could have been 6 months before. It could have been when he was still vice president or after he was vice president. It could have been any time in between. It could have been a year. You have no idea when these things were actually originally located, because everything about this is super sketchy and super shifty, and it's Joe Biden's like personal attorneys and basically employees who are driving the narrative on these documents.
Well, and he said, we're going to see if America thinks it's a mistake. Well, according to a new ABC News poll, 64% of us say that he acted inappropriately in the way he did handle the documents. And it really goes with party lines, too. 96% of Democrats say that Trump handled the documents bad. And then 89% of Republicans say that Biden handled the documents bad. But you're right about controlling the narrative. Now it seems to me that Biden, he's cooperating. This is a consensual and planned search, right? It's almost like he's trying to control the game now. Let's get all of this out there. We want to get rid of these headlines, get rid of the nasty headlines before the State of the Union address.
And the stonewalling, I think, is the thing that is rubbing people the wrong way, which is, look, if this happened, fine, we'll deal with it, whatever. But you keep not only getting a lack of information, but in the case of like Corinne Jean-Pierre, oh yeah, this is it. That's it. Yeah, there's no more to find. And then, of course, they just keep finding more stuff. So when you have a concerted effort by the government to manipulate, the information that people receive, and then also stonewall their ability to understand that info, that is where people start going, wait a second here. So Mike Turner is a U.S. representative from Ohio. He's a Republican. He is the incoming Intelligence Committee chair in the House of Representatives. And he told CBS, this is another great example of this. So this is the incoming Intelligence Committee chairman in the House of Representatives. He's telling CBS that the intelligence community is giving him absolutely nothing on these Biden classified documents.
You have also, before this development, asked for a briefing from the Director of National Intelligence. You said a deadline of Thursday. Do you have any further reason to believe they will meet that deadline, that you will get any insight into these materials?
We'll have to see. But what's critical here, and this is very important. This is what's very important to all of this, Margaret, and that is the FBI and the National Archivists were working completely independent of the intelligence community or the Department of Defense. They claim this was all an issue of national security, but they did not speak to anyone who's involved in national security.
So no response yet from the intelligence community?
I have not received a response. No.
Okay.
So they're trying to keep them separate so that they don't talk. That's what it seems like. We don't want them comparing notes. And have you noticed that they're rolling out another White House spokesperson? This Ian Sams?
Yes. So
it's like Karine Jean-Pierre has been benched.
This is a great point, Casey, that you're seeing multiple people explain the narrative or multiple people deliver the narrative, and that never ends up well. I thought that was one of the major problems with Donald Trump after 2020 was they had a bunch of people delivering the narrative and none of them were very good, whether it was Jenna Ellis or Rudy Giuliani having hair dye, screaming down his face or whatever. When in 2000, I thought one of the reasons Bush did as well as he did in the recount was because everything went through one guy, James Baker. Okay, this is the guy you're going to talk to. He'll deliver the narrative. He delivers exactly what should be said, and he never wavered or anything. Again, not that that mattered ultimately in the Supreme Court's ultimate ruling, but the point is Biden is doing this now too, where much like with Trump, you have multiple people delivering the narrative and it's never consistent because it's never going to be consistent when you have multiple people saying it, even if they all have the same talking points. And so this Ian Sams is a Biden spokesperson. Listen to this. I think he was on MSNBC trying to explain away why Biden said he has no regrets over taking these classified documents.
Let me ask you about the president's own words. He has said no regrets on this matter. What does he mean when he says no regrets?
Sure. Well, I think it's really important to take the soundbite and understand the context. He was asked a question by a reporter about the disclosure publicly of this information. You know, I think that he was asked specifically, do you regret not disclosing this information to the public earlier? And I think that the answer, and of course he said he had no regrets, and the answer is because he's been promptly, his team, his legal team, has been promptly disclosing information to the proper authorities as a part of an ongoing investigation.
There it is again. He's prompt.
Yes.
If we keep telling you that, maybe you'll believe it. Keep in mind that a document doesn't mean a single page. It could be a 50-page report filed under one document. So nobody knows exactly how many pages they're sifting through and what they relate to.
Casey.
Rob.
When we come back.
Yes.
I have found a career that I did not know even existed as a full-time career, and you can make an exorbitant amount of money doing it, and not that I would ever leave you because I know that would just cripple your will to live.
Yeah.
But this is really tempting me.
Second option?
Because I cannot believe you can make this much money doing this.
Okay, we'll find out what it is. Coming up with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The greatest national anthem of all time, track and field star Carl Lewis.
And the Rockets, red flag.
Uh-oh. Now, Nigel, I don't have a Grammy Award. I am not someone who's a professional singer. I don't think you're supposed to say uh-oh in the middle of your song.
Uh-oh, I'll make up for it now.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. And financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Better sleep can change your life. That's because sleep is a core pillar of health, just like nutrition and exercise. So if you're not getting enough of it, ZQL invites you to take our Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Get weekly sleep tips and explore how ZQL, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, can help you. ZQL's Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Visit ZQL.com.
Find ZzzQuil at Walmart or Walmart.com and start your journey to better sleep today.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
A B-Window $2,000 energy saving credit plus federal tax credit and sale prices on windows, siding, and doors. No payments and no interest for 22 months.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
18 minutes after 11, it is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob, do you remember last week when we talked about your last meal, what it would be?
Yes.
Okay, well, Tom Hanks has said what his last meal would be. He said he would eat his way through challah bread, then have French toast, then an In-N-Out double burger, a Greek salad with calamari, and then he would top it off with cake.
Whoa.
So
going out with a bang.
Yeah.
So he would also choose the Greek salad. That was my first item.
Kevin relating to that. Another story that's trending this morning. I don't know if you've heard about this, but a McDonald's in Elkhart, Northern Indiana, mistakenly gave a customer $5,000 with their food.
Oh, how do you, here's your McNuggets and $50, $100 bills? Like, how do you mistakenly give someone $5,000?
Well,
I mistakenly gave you a large fry instead of a small fry.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Happens all the time.
Right.
I mistakenly gave you the 6-piece chicken nugget instead of the 4-piece. I mistakenly gave you a large soda instead of a small soda. How does $5,000 mistakenly end up in someone's bag?
Well, it doesn't say, but I'm guessing it has something to do with maybe the deposit. You know, they get all the cash and they have to go deposit it into the bank at the end of the day. And maybe instead of it being in a bank bag, it was in a McDonald's brown bag.
Yeah, so here's your fries and a giant bag of cash.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could come up with of why that happened.
No kidding.
But the guy who got the $5,000, he decided to return the full bag of money, and they gave him $2 for being honest
$2?
person and free food for a month.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's way more than $2.
Yeah. No, $200.
Oh, $200.
They give him $200 and free food for a month.
How exciting.
For being honest. So, worth it. And finally, trending, it's National Polka Dot Day.
Oh.
Okay.
What the hell does that mean?
I should celebrate polka dots today, Rob.
That's not a real thing.
Okay. It's 20 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And according to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, more than 23 million American households, that's 1 in 5, got a dog or a cat during the pandemic, Rob.
How many?
1 in 5.
Wow.
23 million Americans adopted a new family member.
Oh.
And with a lot of people now back in the office, guess what? Somebody's got to walk all the pandemic puppies.
Yeah, that's true.
So with the rise in pet ownership combined with the boom in pet care, here's a new gig for you.
Oh.
Walk the dog.
Yes. So there was an article that I read. I think this originally appeared in the New York Times, in which dog walkers can now I'm sure it depends on where you live, what sort of neighborhoods, et cetera, but dog walkers can make over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
How is that even a thing?
Well, with the 1 in 5 having dogs, I don't know. Are they charging a lot or are they walking more dogs? So puppy training can go for $60 an hour. Pet sitting, $65 a day. There's 15-minute puppy check-ins where people are charging $12 just for someone to go check in on your puppy.
Oh, just to look at your dog and say, hey, the dog is here. It needed a sprinkle of food and some water.
Yep. And I did a little research about Indianapolis. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 companies that do this. Walk and Wag, Royal Paws Pet Sitting, Comfort Zone Sitters. And of course, you can find lists of dog walkers at rover.com and also care.com.
This is how people earn their living walking dogs. This is really interesting to me because I walk for free.
Yeah.
And so why would I not just be making money doing something I'm doing anyway?
Well, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. You have to take treats. You have to consider the weather.
Yeah.
What kind of harnesses or leashes you're going to put on the dog.
Sure.
The dog's temperament. Do all of the dogs get along?
Yeah.
You have to stick to a routine. You're supposed to do it at the same time every day.
That's got to be the thing, right? In order to make big money at this, you got to be able to walk many dogs at one time. If we're talking like you're trying to make 6 figures,
right?
You cannot be walking like. And then
one dog's not going to cut it.
Yeah. Then I took Fido for a walk, and then I went and took Freddie for a walk, so you'd have to have an ability to have multiple dogs on the same walk at the same time.
Yeah, and how far are you going to go with those dogs?
Yeah.
And if you have a big dog versus a little dog, the little dog might get tuckered out.
Sure.
So there's some logistics. You have to plan this out.
That's a good point. Because like Bruce, my English bulldog, would not be able to go as far as like there's a dog that lives diagonal from us named Scooby who looks like a giraffe. And Scooby would be able to go much further than Bruce would.
Right. So what are you going to do there?
Yeah, so there really is some strategy that goes into this.
Right, and what if Scooby and Bruce don't get along?
Yeah, that's true.
And wouldn't you feel awful if something happened to Scooby while you were responsible? You probably have to get insurance, right? So
is there dog insurance?
There's some upfront costs.
Is that a thing?
Well, maybe not for the dog, but for your LLC. If you're
like a liability?
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average annual household spending on pets rose over the past year from $460 to $770. But then there's this other poll that said in reality, households are spending over $3,000 on their pet, and many people are starting to add a pet line item to their budget.
Yeah, what was the number? What was the original number? 3 something?
460. It went up to $770.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no way because you know what dog food costs.
I blew that away a long time ago.
Yeah, there's no way. By the way, the dog food racket is a total racket.
Well,
allow myself to introduce myself. That's a total scam. I did the math on that. So the last time I went to the store, they only had the small bag of dog food.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, I can keep track of how many days my dog is going to eat off this bag of dog food. And it was like $15 before tax. I think everything in the state gets taxed. I think dog food gets taxed too. So, Holcomb can build a trail somewhere or something. And he made it 14 days eating twice a day. So it cost me over $1 a day to feed this dog for something that it's like kernels. Why is it so expensive? Why is that food so expensive?
Twice a day. Do you have a measuring cup? You give him the same amount every time?
Yeah, I try to.
And what about the treats? Does he get a, good boy treat after walks and after going out?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So my English Bulldog Bruce, it doesn't take much to entertain him. I'm not saying bulldogs have little bitty baby brains, but they're not gigantic brains. And so we discovered this thing that they make these toys where you can put either treats or like peanut butter
inside
the thing.
Yeah.
And he will go with that for like an hour. So from a cost evaluation perspective, it has been a better use of my resources to invest in the peanut butter, the squeezed peanut butter, even though it's more expensive than the treats, because you get a lot more bang for your buck with that.
Does Bruce do well with other dogs?
Oh, Bruce tries to do well with other dogs. They don't do well with him.
Oh, okay.
Because I think his facial features are very intimidating.
Yeah.
And he is very kindly aggressive, but I don't think many dogs like that. He wants to be everyone's best friend.
Yeah.
And just some people don't need best friends. They don't even need a friend, much less a best friend.
Gracie dog tries to be so territorial.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a schnauzer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
She's a miniature schnauzer.
Yeah.
And Kevin and I talked about getting the dogs together, but we don't think that would go very well. because he's got a Jack Russell Terrier, right?
Right. Yeah.
And also a little dog.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would work out.
I think it would be a full-out brawl.
I am Bruce's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have me as a friend, what else could be better than that?
Hey, right now at WIBC.com on the side piece, there's an article about there will be a dog from Indianapolis represented in the Puppy Bowl.
In the what?
The Puppy Bowl.
What in the world is that?
It's on the Animal Planet, and it airs opposite.
What, dogs play football against each other or what?
Yes, and at halftime they have the kitten show.
Well, if I had to watch that, or who's the underachiever who's doing the halftime show this year?
Isn't it Rihanna?
She the one that does that Yellow Diamond song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah, should we play that next?
No, it's the King's Day, and you got 2 breaks left to play Lola.
Okay, let's talk about Alec Baldwin really quick. He's not going to be charged with the shooting of the Rust director, despite the fact that he was hit with the same bullet. So Alec Baldwin is being charged with the one
Yeah, try to explain this. Go ahead.
I know. He's being charged with the one crime, but not another. It's the same stray bullet, right? And the DA said is because there's no law for unintentional battery. Nothing like that exists.
But I guess there is a law for unintentional homicide.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that kind of wild? Well, if you die, I guess we'll do something about it. But if you just are shot, you're on your own.
So,
am I interpreting that correctly? That's basically what they're saying?
Yeah.
They're saying, we acknowledge this guy did not intend to shoot this woman, but because she's dead, well, it's dead, so we got to do something. She's dead, so we got to do something about it.
Right.
But the guy who just got shot, well, you're on your own.
Because that was a stray random bullet. Ricochet.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the point. It's like, it's the same thing, but I guess unless you die, then they will not do anything about it.
Did you see Joy Behar suggesting that he was charged with manslaughter because he's liberal?
I did see that.
And then she was forced to make a clarification. She had to go back and...
Because someone's dead.
Yeah.
He was charged because someone's dead and he fired the gun. And he went on ABC and tried to claim he didn't fire the gun.
Right. Which
is physically impossible.
Yeah, and not helping his case at all. We've got to get to the news. Kurt Darling's up next with 93 WIBC.
Doing more in the community means that I get out and I volunteer.
Hi, I'm Hannah Yeagerbush here at Teachers Treasures, and we nominated David Barabee because he's such a great volunteer leader. He does so much for us to make our mission possible to serve teachers in Marion County.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My vehicle really allows me the ability to be where they need me. Either downtown, at the store, or out on a route, or working for the mobile operation.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year, whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies or drives somewhere to serve on site. Jiffy Lube supports local givers who count on their car to do more for Indy, and we love to hear their stories.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When it'll get here, I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A winter storm watch is out for much of central and northern Indiana for late Tuesday into Wednesday. The National Weather Service expecting around 4 inches of snow to fall with a system heading towards the state. The jury who will decide the fate of the man accused of killing 2 girls in Delphi in 2017 will come from either St. Joseph or Allen counties.
And that deal was made public Monday. I'm John Herrick. An agreement was made between the prosecutors and Richard Allen's defense team, then approved by a judge. They had to agree on where the jury would come from because the judge had already said that the trial would happen in Carroll County, but they needed to have a jury come from elsewhere. Allen's bail hearing is scheduled for next month. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The average price for gas today, $3.36, says Gas Buddy. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
World-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Governor Holcomb, I love how high school sports teach the importance of the journey.
I couldn't agree more, Commissioner Neidig. Before any measure of success is achieved, like making a winning play or earning a state championship, student athletes go on an essential journey that humbles and teaches them every step of the way.
The lessons learned along the journey of high school sports are about so much more than just the game. Student athletes learn how to persevere through adversity, never give up, and to get better every day.
This second classroom teaches the skills, behaviors, and attitudes student athletes need to be successful on the playing field and in life.
There's no better training ground for today's teens on their way to becoming tomorrow's leaders. Support the vital work of education-based athletics by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events.
This is keeping education in front of athletics. This is the journey of high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Here we go. It's 11:34. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and there's a new poll out. And in it, Donald Trump leads a list of 4 other major Republican figures for the 24 presidential nomination. He's also beating Ron DeSantis by 10 points in a head-to-head contest, according to this new Harvard Capps Harris poll. So let's take a look at some of the other people that are listed in this poll. You got Donald Trump, who received 48%.
This is with everyone in the poll, right?
Yeah. Ron DeSantis at 28%. Mike Pence, your good buddy, he got 7%. Nikki Haley's even mentioned in this poll, 3%. She's alluding to the fact that she might actually throw her hat in the ring. Also, Marco Rubio got 3%. And when it comes head-to-head between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, Trump is at 54 and DeSantis is at 45.
Okay, yeah. So that's the one that counts, right? Take these other goobers out of the equation. It's 2-person race. It's Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump.
You don't think Nikki Haley?
No, those people have as much chance of being president as you or I do. Okay. But before we get to the Trump v. DeSantis head-to-head matchup, if you are a person, if you were polled, or even if you're pursuing, I would just respond this way. If you said you would vote for Mike Pence for president, please explain yourself. I will play that tomorrow on the air. 317-684-8444. 317-684-8444. And you tell me what is going on in your life that you think Mike Pence is the best that America can do. I'm excited to play one of those phone calls tomorrow, because I want to do a welfare check on you of some shape, form, or fashion. Okay, so Trump, DeSantis. So here's my question. Why are the polls like so, well, I know the answer to this. I guess I kind of just answered my own question, but the poll, let me rephrase the question as a statement.
Okay.
The polls are all over the map right now.
Yes.
Because we just did one late last week that showed DeSantis now way ahead of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Which shows nobody really, it just depends on who you catch on what day right now. So we're basically doing these for our own entertainment purposes. But one thing you are seeing is, remember 3 or 4 months ago, it was Trump way ahead of Ron DeSantis. Now, at least it is rapidly closing to where DeSantis is within 10 points in a head-to-head matchup.
And it's a closer. Do you think it has anything to do with who is doing the poll? Because this is a Harvard Capps Harris poll.
Yes.
The people vetted Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Well, I think it always depends on who you call, who you ask. Is it likely voters? Is it all voters, registered voters, as they call it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you ask the question?
Right.
Those things all factor into the equation. And I would say this is probably still not far off from where the truth lies. I think if the election were held today, if there were, now, again, it's ridiculous because there's not a national primary, but if there were a national primary today, that's probably about where it would come in. But you've got to think over the next year, Ron DeSantis will get into this race. He will start spending gobs and gobs of money on this race. People will be familiarizing themselves with Ron DeSantis. The fact that Trump, even if he is ahead, is not overwhelmingly ahead, that's not a good sign for Trump because Trump has no room to grow. He can only
go down. Yeah, and that's the thing. Trump is at 55% in this poll and DeSantis is at 45%. Well, that's counting pretty much everybody who's going to get on board the Trump train.
Right.
And at this point, with investigations and all the legal issues, that number can potentially go down. But with DeSantis, he's currently governing, he's currently making laws. His numbers could go up. But there's also time for him to make a mistake.
DeSantis is not. Casey, you owe everyone an apology because Ron DeSantis is not making a mistake. Come on now.
Well, I mean, some people could think he's making a mistake. Not in this room.
It will be interesting, though, to see where the Republican Party goes, especially I think the next 6 months is going to be very interesting because we will see where the Republican Party wants to go, or you'll get an idea of the blueprint of where the Republican Party wants to go in 2024.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And Rob, you put this story on the template, and I got to tell you, at home, I don't have the paywall. So I had to read about it this morning because here at work, they will pay for the Indy Star paywall. $35 million in mansions, the 5 most expensive Indianapolis area homes sold last year.
It's the amount of money people are still willing to spend on real estate, and the fact that these even exist in Indiana, because you always think of, well, one of the nicest things about Indiana is the affordable cost of living and how everything is super affordable, and they make it sound like no home is ever priced over $300,000. Bull crap.
Yeah. The number one house on this list is the Linden House, sold for $14.5 million. Sits on more than 150 acres. It has over 41,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms. It wasn't on the market that long.
This was the house that was owned by Crystal DeHaan, who is a philanthropist and real estate, etc. Yes, so it's sold for $14.5 million. And I would say, look, I'm no real estate expert, but I would say
looking estate.
I live in a reasonably sized ranch house on a town street. So I'm not by any means a real estate king, but I would say if I were to pick a house and say which one of these is the $14.5 million house, this house, what with the water and the sprawling house and the trees and the acreage, this looks like a $14.5 million house.
Yeah, the gourmet kitchen. It also has a catering kitchen and a butler's pantry. Yeah. These people like to eat whoever lived there. Tennis courts, a billiard room, a 5+ car garage. The second house on this list is located in Carmel, and this is a $9 million home built in 1930, 7,100 square feet. And it looks nice, too. It looks big. Boy, does that place look big.
71 square foot. But here is what stood out to me about this. And somebody needs to tell me why this is a thing, okay? 5 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms.
10 bathrooms.
What possible reason in a 5-bedroom home would you need 10 bathrooms?
Everybody needs 2, right?
I guess that would be good for parties.
Somebody's got to really help me with this. By the way, the neighboring home also sold for $2.9 million. So no slouches living in that neighborhood.
Right. Number 3 on the list went for $4.1 million. They called it a holiday cellar.
Oh.
It did.
It sold in mid-December.
Okay, well, there you go. It's a 10,000 square foot house. Sits on over 2 acres, and it's luxurious with marble floors and winding staircases. And this one is on the National Register of Historic Places.
Oh, okay.
So if you buy this, you've got some responsibility.
Well, okay, so this is going to be my next question to you, because when you compare that home, which is on the National Register of Historic Places, and has been there since 2000. It was built in, I think they said
1927.
Yeah, 1927. Yeah. Okay. So then you compare it to number 5 or number 4, which is
looks
a
brand
new
new.
build. It is because it is.
Yeah.
It's a new build. $3.78 million. Look, if I got that kind of money, I'm buying something old and fancy.
Really? You want to go old?
All these new homes look the same to me.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying about having character, but if I'm going to spend that much money, I want the latest state of the art.
Well,
everything.
You could put state of the art stuff
resto-mod it
inside. I mean, don't all these new homes look largely the same to you?
Yeah. But they're nice.
Even the big, nice ones. Oh, yeah, they're big and they're nice. But it looks like Johnny Homeseed came by and just put a little seed in the ground in the home.
And a McMansion grew.
Yeah.
So this last one on this list here is on a Zionsville golf course, and it has a lot of windows. How much did that one sell for? Oh, $3.53 million.
Real quick.
That would be good for you. It's on a golf course.
Oh, yeah. And it's only however many million dollars. It's right in my wheelhouse. Casey, you have been to my home. And having been to my home, you know that 3-point-whatever million is the next step for me from where I'm at now.
You're going to make that jump, huh?
Okay. Hey, real quick, before we go to a break, speaking of homes and what they cost and everything else, I did want to read... I did want to read an email I got about property taxes because this person sent this to me. I'm not going to read all of it, but I am going to read you because this is exactly what I'm talking about with property taxes in the sense of people who have never monetized an asset have paid exorbitant amounts of money, and the amount of money they're asked to pay every single year goes up and up and up and up and up. Okay. Good morning, Rob. My husband and I enjoy your show. You and Casey provide a lot of valuable information as well as laughs. My husband purchased our home in July of 1978 for $39,500. The valuation we found online is $198,200. So this person who has never monetized this asset in 45 years is now paying the state is taxing them at an applicable rate of 5 times what they bought the home for that they've never monetized. So they're trying to say, so the rate at which they can tax you is 5 times what they originally had the home at, and they've never made a penny off this asset. Why is that okay? So these people are 77 and 71 years old, and they are very afraid of what's going to happen. This home they've basically lived in much of their adult lives.
Yeah.
They could potentially be taken from them because the Indiana Republican Party allows a goofy, stupid, out-of-control assessment process to repeatedly raise taxes on poor and middle-class and elderly people. Why is this okay? Why is that okay, Casey, that they have never made a dime off this house and they are now taxed at a rate 5 times what they bought it for? Did
they mention if they got their new bill, their new property tax?
They did not, and I'm going to reply to this person and see if they will give me some more information. It's completely and utterly ridiculous, and we're 2 weeks into the legislative session, and all you get from the Indiana Republicans when you ask them to do something is...
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back this afternoon. Biggest stories in Indy, and it's Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford, 93 WIBC.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metals experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-376-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
This Valentine's Day, the perfect gift is at PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms in Brownsburg. You're going to find that one-of-a-kind piece without breaking the bank. Unique vintage pieces of jewelry dating back to the 1800s. One-of-a-kind pieces from local jewelers. And they also have those wow factor diamonds if you're looking to make this Valentine's Day something special. A big jewelry selection without the big jewelry price. It's more than a kiss. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030 online at premierarms.com.
I don't always black out when I'm drunk.
My kids can't tell that I'm high, so it's okay.
I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink in the morning.
I still have a job, so my drug use isn't a problem.
I can stop using whenever I want.
Don't ignore the signs of addiction. You don't have to wait until it's too late to get help. At Landmark Recovery, we're here to provide affordable and effective addiction treatment. Call 866-LANDMARK or visit landmarkrecovery.com to get help today.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You really got me going. You got me so. There you go. 11:49 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and the Justice Department prosecutors are reportedly considering requesting a search of President Biden's home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And this is, of course, after they found lots of classified documents in his Wilmington, Delaware place. The DOJ hasn't pursued a search warrant yet. They've been working with Biden's lawyers. But I would like to remind you at this time that the White House press secretary said that you can assume the search is complete. However, it's not.
Well, it was like a week ago, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they just keep finding more things. But one of the other spokespeople, because they've benched Karine Jean-Pierre, he won't tell MSNBC if there will be additional searches, but he does want you to know that Biden is the good guy in this equation.
Ian, does the White House expect additional searches at the president's other properties?
Well, I think it's important in this instance to take a step back and understand exactly what's happened here. From day one, the president has committed to full cooperation with the Justice Department as it looks at this matter. He has proactively offered access to his home to the Department of Justice to conduct a thorough search. That occurred yesterday, as you saw in the statement from the president's personal attorney, lasted about 13 hours, went through his entire house and found some additional material. And the reason that that's happening is because he's not resisting an investigation.
Okay, so James Comer was on one of the Sunday shows, and he had a lot of things to say about this. He suggested there may have been a cover-up. He said that this fits a pattern of influence operation, and he kind of just stopped short of characterizing it as treason. And he said the White House isn't being truthful with the American people. And we need to know who had access to those documents because our national security is at risk.
Yeah, and there's a new approval rating out for Biden I was going to get into it tomorrow, but from American Research Group that shows Biden at 41% with a 54% disapproval. So it's not like, and this is what happens in our society, right? Like, so something comes out and then everybody just takes teams, right? They go to their side, they go to their team. And the team concept now is based almost on how beneficial it is for us to save you. Well, the problem for Biden is that he's already done the thing or helped do the thing or the thing that they needed him to do, which is get him across the finish line at the midterms.
Right.
And with, again, more cover-ups, et cetera, which is now being revealed that took place with these documents, et cetera, they were able to do that. Biden is of no use to them. The Democrats have no vested interest in going into the midterms, into the next presidential election now that they're through the midterms with Joe Biden as the face of the party. They can essentially reset. If they do it especially if they do it in the next 6 months, they can reset the entire party. And once they throw his old ass out of office, it'll be out of sight, out of mind, and it'll be on to the next person. So whether that's Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, whoever, I don't think they want Kamala. So the Democrats have no vested interest
in helping him.
So unlike Bill Clinton circa 1996, where investigations were certainly gearing up, it was obvious he was at best a really sketchy individual. There was a vested interest in saving Bill Clinton, defending Bill Clinton, whatever. So everybody on the team was blocking and moving the football in the same direction. That is not happening here, and that's why it's a big problem for Biden.
Right. It's very fractured. And like you say, tribalized, even within the own party.
Yeah.
And the Quinnipiac University poll said that 60% of Americans think that he handled things inappropriately, and 2/3 are following the media coverage really close. And, just when you think, okay, they're done, out this weekend again. Oh my gosh, more documents were found.
It's drip, drip, drip. And so if you're a Democrat and you're saying, well, there's a better chance than not the Republicans are going to finally get their act together and move on from Trump, well, now you don't have the one thing that can really save you, which is Donald Trump being the Republican nominee for president. So you've really got to go out there and either get better at cheating or up your cheating game. Up your jelly bean counting game to new heights. Because they did. Somebody said this weekend, and it's true. They would have a real problem convincing people that 81 million people voted for Biden again, right? I mean, might have gotten away with it once.
Yeah.
You're going to have a real problem pulling that off again. It's much easier, especially again if you do it in the next 6 months, to reset. Hey, Gavin Newsom's now the face of the party, and Joe Biden will be out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
Now, here's the question for you, Casey. How are they going to get him out? Because I don't see Joe Biden just willy-nilly going, yeah, you're right. I've been a totally corrupt, shady, underhanded person all these years, and I'm out.
Well, and if they start any sort of congressional hearings, by the time those get going, it will almost be the end of his term anyway.
And you can't indict a sitting president. So my question to you is, how are they going to get, what will be the mechanism by which they get him to, I think probably the more likely thing is he would announce, not that he's stepping down, but that he's not going to run again.
Right.
I think that's probably the far more likely scenario. So that way he's not stained like Nixon, was stained, or Andrew Johnson, who was impeached, was stained, even though the Johnson impeachment was totally ridiculous, or Trump was stained with impeachment. That way he can walk out on his own terms, but as soon as he announces he's not running again, then they'll still be able to reset the narrative.
Right, because they'll be able to start going with new candidates.
Right.
So he'll just accept being a lame duck.
Sure.
And just wrap it up.
Yeah, and he will spin it as, I told you people I was going to get in there and solve COVID and racism and whatever else that he didn't cure cancer, but you can't check all the boxes. And he'll just say, look, I did what I could, and I'm old, and I'm moving on, and I've been the elder statesman, and thank you, have a nice life.
Or he could say, my son really needs my help right now, so I'm going to step down and make sure he's okay.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. Once Biden announces he's not running, if we play this out, once Biden announces he's not running, well, then the narrative becomes, well, you're just going after Hunter Biden for no reason now. His dad isn't the president anymore. I mean, the media will cooperate once he cooperates.
And he wants to direct the narrative at this point. All right, thank you, Rob. Good job, Kevin, and thank you for listening today. We're going to count on you to be back here tomorrow. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Why is there church?
Pastor John Gable of Tabernacle Presbyterian Church in Indianapolis.
The word church conjures up many images, but at TAB we believe the church is called to demonstrate the values and practices of the kingdom of God. At TAB we envision a place where people grow strong in faith as they are equipped to serve others, where deep and loving relationships are created, where people work together to strengthen the community, advocate for justice, and promote God's peace and shalom. Oh, we're not there yet. But that is what we desire because we believe that's what God desires for the church, our community, and the world. Come see for yourself or find out more at tabpres.org.
Tabernacle Presbyterian Church, 34th Street and Central Avenue in Indianapolis, invites you to worship Sunday morning at 8 or 10 a.m. If you can't make it in person, tune in to Sunday with Tab, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WIBC, or find us online at tabpres.org.
The Indianapolis Home Show, January 20th through 29th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds and Event Center. 10 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with